You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Thanks so much for joining me here today on this Motivation and Mindset Monday. I'm excited to be able to bring this show to you today. And actually, this topic came from social media. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with social media. Essentially, I love being on it. I love being able to connect with people that I would never be able to meet all over the world if it weren't for social media. And of course, my two favorite would be Instagram and Facebook. Facebook, mainly just our two private groups, which are the cabralsupportgroup.com and then our private group for the people that are becoming certified as integrative health practitioners. However, I do love going on Instagram and I love connecting with people, and I also love reading quotes, and I love, the overall aspect of sharing information on social media. So in that regards, I'm a big fan. I just don't want to see the world and people in general get lost in the digital world and forget about the real world that we do live in, and making real, actual relationships and connections with other human beings. That's just what I don't want to see disappear. However, there is a lot to be gained from social media and the experience of being able to, at least if it's done in a constructive way, chat with people and really, I would say, initiate dialogue with those maybe you don't even agree with in order to see different viewpoints. One other part that I also do enjoy about Instagram specifically is just quick bits of content. And then if you like the content, you can obviously read more about it. That's one of the nice things. And so today's Motivation and Mindset Monday was from a post that I saw quite some time ago where, people were talking about different things that they would do to waste their time, or that things that where it just made them procrastinate. And procrastination is such a big topic that each one of us needs to be aware of, because we all procrastinate in our own way. And I found, at least in my life, that when I procrastinate the most, it's either that I'm kind of worried about something, like I'm not quite there yet to move forward with it, or it's pulling me out of my comfort zone. What I want to talk about today is a lot about procrastination, but really the top 10 ways in which people see their life start to pass them by. And unless you're aware of this, you're not going to be able to catch it. So my big thing with these Motivation and Mindset Mondays, especially the last couple of weeks, has been self-awareness. Those people that are more self-aware can, and they're honest about it, can begin to allow themselves to then catch it when they're being self-aware of their flaws, and then not judge themselves, but begin to work on those specific flaws, those specific issues. Too many people right now, I see it with health experts, I see it with people teaching Ayurveda. A lot of the more popular people on Instagram teaching Ayurveda right now are not even honest about their own body type. They're calling themselves a certain body type. They're not even that body type. It's just because people want to portray themselves or talk about it to the world in the way in which they wish that they were. And that's totally fine as well. Like, if you are looking to aspire to be something, I wholeheartedly agree. You should hold that thought in your mind. You should act as if. You should move towards it. I love that. But we also have to accept where we're currently at in order to make the actual changes that need to be done. So as I'm sharing you with these 10 ways today, I do want you to know that all of them can be changed, every single one of them, but we have to know where we're at right now. That is actual power. That's not complaining. That's not, looking at things negatively. It's saying, okay, this is what's currently going on. I want to change that. I'm going to actually physically make a change. But in order to make a change, I know that I have to be aware of it first. I need to think the thought that's going to create the feeling that will then allow me to take action on those things that I don't currently like in my life right now. So I want you to think of this as all positive. These are things that we all do to certain degrees. The most successful people I've ever met or worked with, I can still see in certain areas of their life, that's an area that they need to bring up because they're using one of these 10 ways. So let's get into it right now. This first one I love. I really love this one. And because again, like I see myself in all 10 of these, I see where I used to be and how I've kind of overcome many of them and some that I'm still working on to this day. So number one is this, is a lot of people are just letting their life slide by right through their fingertips, honestly, right through their fingers. It's like the sands of time are literally moving. We cannot stop them. What we need to do, though, is then just do our best, keep moving forward. And this first one is this, it's waiting to be inspired. A lot of people don't want to take action until they feel inspired. You know, they don't want to write that book. They don't want to go for the certification. They don't want to switch the career. They don't want to go out and meet the right person. They don't want to try to enhance their spirituality. They don't want to try to lose the weight. And they don't want to try to get well because they say, okay, well, I'm just waiting for the right time. I'm waiting for that inspiration. Well, first of all, there's never going to be a right time. We create the right time. Sometimes they're certainly better than others, meaning like if you're in it right now, if you're in it, meaning like everything feels like it's closing in around you, all right, give yourself a week or two to move out of that situation. Okay? And if that situation seems like it's going to last for years, then you can't wait. You have to do something. You need to find the mentor, read the book, listen to the podcast, but you need to either go around whatever that obstacle is, go over that obstacle, go through it, because either way, you're going to lose a lot of your life wasted on waiting to become inspired. Such an important thing. I'll tell you what leads to inspiration, and I want to do a whole show on this as well in the future. I've always found what leads to inspiration is this, is action. Action begets more action. That's why first thing in the morning, I do not wait to be inspired. I no longer do that. What I do every single day is I wake up and I immediately go through my morning routine. The first thing I do is I grab my water, I grab my daily fruit and vegetable blend, I grab my pinch of sea salt, I grab my lime, I squeeze it in there, and I just mix it together and I drink it down. Right after that, I head right to the bathroom, I brush my teeth, I splash some water on my face. Like I am ready to start the day. I put on an inspirational podcast or I put on an inspirational video. Just something to get my mind in the right place. Nothing that's too intense, nothing that's too stimulating. I don't want to use my mind. I just want to listen to some very soft, inspiration to start my day. And then I get right in my day. I shower. I'm ready to start the day. After that, I do my morning movements. I make my smoothie. I have my oatmeal, talk to my family, and then I'm right out the door. Like that is it. Now, everybody will have their own morning routine. They really will. And everybody has their own tasks that they have to do, their own family obligations, their own work obligations. I understand. But do not wait to be inspired to start your day. Do not wait for inspiration to come to you to write. You have to schedule your day. And I've spoken about that many, many times. It's that scheduling and the routine which leads to so much freedom in your life. Please go back, listen to those previous Mindset and Motivation Mondays. I do believe that you'll get some information out of those as well. Number 2 is this. We worry what people will say about us, right? So we don't often do the things that we want to do in life because we're worried about a spouse, we're worried about what our parents will say about us, how they'll view us, because now it's in a different light. We're no longer their child. We look at it, we just look at things in different ways, right? Might look at how your children would view you. Any of these things. If you are constantly worried about what people will say about you, the truth is you're not going to lead your greatest life. You're not going to live up to your highest potential. And the reason that you won't is because whatever's inside of you, whatever desire there is, it's being squelched or belittled because of your fear about what someone else will say. So what I need you to do is this, is just say, listen, I'm doing this for me. It's my job. I was put here for a reason. This is most likely my greatest calling. Or this is one of those things out of a handful of things in my life that will make me truly happy. And why not me? Why don't I get to be happy, right? Why can't I owe it to myself instead of to everyone else to be happy? And that's such a huge thing, I believe, as well, is because we're trying to make everyone else happy, right? I'm going to get to that as well, but what about us? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to forget about, temporarily at least, suspend what you believe, what others will say about you, because oftentimes I always say people are thinking about you so much less than you actually believe, and that's a good thing. It allows you to be free. It allows you to be you. And again, if those people say things that you don't necessarily like, or you are worried about what they may say, that's okay. I always say close your ears to that. What other people say about me is none of my business, right? It's really not. If someone likes, just for example, for me, if someone likes what I share in the podcast, that's amazing. Those are my people. That's who I want to serve to an even higher degree. And for those people that don't, that's okay. There's someone else for them. There's someone else for them. There's many, many people that they can learn from, and I'm okay with that as well. Don't worry about it. You will find your people when you're living your highest good. So please do move forward with whatever it is that you do want to achieve. And again, that can be anything in your life. The third one is this: complaining. People literally waste their life complaining about what is, complaining about what isn't, complaining about what might be. It's just one complaint after another. And I've had to actually isolate myself from those people that do that the most in my life. It's just the way it is. I'm not trying to be mean. It's not that I don't like those people or even love those people, whatever it might be. It's just I simply can't be around it. It's not what I've chosen for my life. I surround myself with people that are can-do people, that do see the world as half full. Now, do those people have their down moments? Do they have the loss of a loved one? Do they sometimes lose a job? Do they sometimes lose their health for some time? They do, without a doubt. And during that time, guess what? They still have the mindset that they're going to make it through, but that's when they lean on their friends to help them get through it. And that's what friends are all about, right? So that person's not complaining at that time because that person's not a complainer. They're at a down point in their life. And so when a person that's not a complainer complains, you say, okay, something must be going on because this person is not one of those people that complains about everything, right? If it's sunny out, it's too sunny. If it's cloudy out, can't see the sun, right? Those are complainers. You have to really, and again, I used to be one of those people? Absolutely. So here's what you have to do, though, is you have to take an honest assessment of yourself because no one else is going to do it. There's certainly, most people aren't going to be honest with you. And so I just said, what am I saying most of the day? And I just thought about what I was saying, like literally go down. I was like, oh, that's a negative thought. That's a negative voicing of that. You know what to go through is, so if I'm always talking negatively and complaining, then I have more negative thoughts because negative thoughts lead to negative feelings, which lead to negative actions and words. So what I had to do was just trace it backwards. How did I learn this? I learned this through studying quantum physics, quantum mechanics, the law of attraction, frequency, vibration. And you could say all of those things are new age and woo-woo and all that, but it's actually not. It's really not. I mean, this is all studied now. Quantum mechanics and quantum physics are real things. And when you look at particles and how they move, it actually changed based on thoughts, and based on vibrations, and based on light, and based on all these things. They're real. It's pretty complicated, right? So I'm certainly not the expert in that, without a doubt. I'm not a physicist. Certainly not a quantum physicist, but what I do know is I take the overall arching principles and then I also study it in life. So I would say I'm more into psychology and philosophy than I am even into quantum physics. And what I see around me is those people who don't complain, those people who are not worried about what people are saying about them all the time. Now, everybody worries to a certain degree. Same with me. I'd be lying to you if I said not to a certain degree. To a certain degree, I do, but I'm still willing to push through. You know, that is one of those differences. And then complaining, it has to be removed from your life. Every once in a while, you're welcome to complain. If a train is late, if one of my flight is delayed, I'm like, really? I'm going to be delayed. Now we're not going to get in for 3 more hours. Yeah, complain for a minute and then let it go. That's it. But you can't be complaining about everything. It has to be more positive than negative. Number 4 is trying to please everybody, right? I alluded to this in number 2. But trying to please everybody is a sure way to please no one. That is one of my favorite lines. So when you try to please everyone, you're guaranteed to please almost no one. And here's why. Because, again, some people like the hot weather. Some people like the cold weather. Some people love a rainy day. Some people love a sunny day. Other people like playing the victim when it comes to actually, being sick because they get more sympathy. I was there myself. Some people love living in robust health. Some people love sleeping in the weekend. Some people don't. No matter what you do or say or whatever it is, you're going to offend someone. And that's because we are all unique individuals. We have our own thoughts. We have our own upbringing. We have all the nature that went into us, all the nurture that went into us. So here's the thing. Be you. Be you. That's what it's all about. No matter what, you're going to offend someone. Like something on this podcast I'm saying today is going to offend someone. And then they may not want to listen again if this was their only podcast that they've ever listened to and they thought that this was my only viewpoint of the world, right? Because they didn't listen to the other 970-something other podcasts. But here's the thing. I know that, and there's nothing I can do about it. I just have to continue to be me and try to serve to my highest good. So again, do I know that I will sometimes say things to offend other people? Yes. Is it ever intentional? Absolutely not. But I will always speak my truth, and I will try to say it to the best of my ability. And then all of the people that are upset by that, they either, one, didn't know my intentions were pure, or number two, that was their maybe one-time meeting with me, and that's okay as well. Or they have their own dogma. Like, I'll do a video with many, many experts around the world, and they're like, oh, I don't believe what this person's saying. And that's okay, but your mind was closed because everything I bring to you is proven to be true. Now, in all scenarios, absolutely not. And that's because, again, we live in a world of infinite possibilities, right? Of all these different possibilities. What I try to bring to you is the truth of what I've seen in my life. So I don't want you to try to please every person you come across. That is an impossible task. Please don't do that. Try to serve others to the best of your ability and be you at the same time. Most important advice I can give you right there. The fifth one is this, is comparing yourself to other people. I mean, this is a really tough one because it does two things to you. So one, when you compare yourself to other people, you're either saying that you're better than them, and if you do that, then you're playing into your ego. The problem with your ego is that it can also be easily shattered, right? So we don't like that. So you're either better than or you're worse than. And if you're worse than, well then, here's what's happening. You're saying that you're not worthy of, you don't bring the same value to, and you often give up or you shrink or shy away from whatever those opportunities might be. But again, none of that's the truth. It's only the truth if you're placing judgment in this world. That is something that I grew up with lots of, right? In religion and community and all of these things, it's judging. This is good, this is bad, right? I'm better than, I'm worse than. They got better grades than me, I got better grades than them. I was better at sports or was worse at sports, whatever one of those categories it may be. But when we are always comparing, the problem is we're always judging ourselves. And that is something that you have to understand in every major religious teaching, right? The Bible says you don't want to judge or you will be judged. And that's the truth. But you're the one judging you. You can look at it for however you want to look at it. But the truth is that those people that are always judging others always felt like they're being judged. When I gave that up, I no longer even felt like people are judging me. Like if people are judging me, again, none of my business. None of my business. You're welcome to judge me. But I'm guaranteeing you that's your judgment of me is going to hurt you more than it hurts me. One is I don't know you're doing it. Number two is I'm not thinking about whether you're judging me or not. And number three is that's coming back to you. You are judging someone else, so it will come back to be judged to you. That's karma, right? That is it. So put good out there. No judgment. When you see something that you don't like, you just simply could say to yourself, maybe grateful not in that position, maybe just understanding that, hey, that person must be going through a lot in their life. And the truth is that they're probably dealing with things that I have no idea are going on. Like, however you want to look at it, or you just move on. Just move past it. A lot of times, no need to say anything, do anything. That is all that is, right? We are just surrounded by every possibility that there is in life. Sometimes it's best to just move on, move forward, not say a word, and certainly not get into a combative argument if someone does, not feel like you're doing the best for them. But again, comparing yourself to others, they're wealthier, not as wealthy, they have a nicer home, don't have a nicer home, car, no car, or that person has a better degree or worse degree, like any of those things. The comparison is not going to serve you at all. You should be looking to see how you can serve others regardless of where you feel that you're at in life. Number six is this. Again, it goes back to that quote. One of my favorite quotes. This is something that there's a few things that need to just be ingrained in all of us. That we can make as many mistakes as we want in life. We just don't want to make them twice. I say it to every single person that I hire in my team. I hire quite a few people, and I've hired hundreds of people in my time. Whether I was working for health clubs, whether I was working for wellness centers before my own. And, this is what I said. I will never get mad at you, ever. You'll never see me get mad at you. You can make as many mistakes as you want, but we just don't want to make them a second time. That's it. And I always say, is that fair? And they say, absolutely. And so, every once in a while they'd be worried, like, oh, I did this. And I said, don't worry about it. Like, you didn't know. You had no idea. How can I get mad at you? And how can you get mad at you when you didn't know it was going to happen in the first place? No judgment, no harm, no worries. But let's remember, and let's also try to figure out a way so that doesn't happen again. It's not enough to just be like, hey, no big deal. Let's just say, how do we not let it happen again? Like, how do we learn from this? Because the problem is this, the same people go on the same diets that don't work over and over. The same people who still aren't well are still following the same methodologies. You know, if you have high cholesterol and now you have high blood pressure and you're putting on weight and all this, and you're still using pharmaceuticals, yeah, it's just not going to work. Like, it's not, at no point will it work. And if you're still with the same chiropractor 3 years later, far you're back, well, like, start working with either a functional training-based personal trainer that can work on strengthening your glutes, opening up your hamstrings, opening up your hip flexors, that can begin to work on your kyphotic posture, that can see if you have collapsed arches in your feet, that can have you do some barefoot training, that can do some posterior chain-based work. Listen, I mean, I love chiropractors, there's no doubt about it, but there's also a certain segment of chiropractors where they just want you to come back to them every 2 weeks. And my friends, my colleagues who are amazing chiropractors, and they do active release, and they do all sorts of things, they don't even like those set of chiropractors, right? That are just saying, no, just come back every 2 weeks and I'll give you an adjustment. No, that's not what it's about. It's about correcting the body, correcting the mistakes that got you in there in the first place. So what I want you to do is make the mistakes. Don't shy away from that. Like, dig right in, but don't keep following the same path that's gotten you the same things in life. Number 7 is this, following the same suit as this, perfectionism. Nobody was worse. Nobody was worse than me up until about 27, 28 when my life really changed. 27, 28, it's just a click. It just made it click. I mean, believe me, I've been working on that since not 18. I got sick when I was 17, all the way through 22. I would say I was in it. 22 and 23. I started, right around there. 22 years old when I graduated for whatever reason. Again, I don't know. I don't even know how I was introduced to all of this. I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. I started reading some books by Joe Vitale, and then I started reading books. I read the book by Napoleon Hill, and then I started reading a book by Dr. Joseph Murphy that I still recommend to this day. And then I read a book by, I believe his name is Michael Dooley. And I just read, and then I read a couple hundred books, and I kept going with it. And then I realized I was always in my best mindset when I was reading books on self-improvement. So it's kind of like I never stopped. I was always working. Whatever books I was reading, I was always reading a book as well on self-improvement because it kept me in the right mindset. But it also kept me out of the mindset of this, is that you have to do things in life without worrying about whether they're going to be perfect. So I didn't put out my first book that I wanted to write on exercise and training until I was, I think, 28, even though I'd been doing it for about 10 years since I was in college, right? And I was like, it has to be perfect. I was doing the design for it. I was doing all the writing. I had someone take all the photos of me. Like, it was insane. And it took forever. And I had to be perfect. I had to be the one to do it. Whereas if I just hired a professional for the layout, hired a professional for all of those things, then it would have been done so much faster. But in my own mind, no, it has to be perfect. Well, the truth is that there's only so much that you know in the beginning. And I honestly believe perfect's not even a possibility in the world in general, but certainly not right out of the gates, because you don't even know the right questions to ask until you start to take action. So now I live by that. We literally just launched our integrative health practitioner certification. And I told everyone in the beta group, listen, you got 50% off because we have all the content you could want. It is exactly what you need to know in order to heal yourself and heal others. Use this in your practice, develop the practice of your dreams, work virtual with anyone, anywhere in the world, right? This is it. But having said that, this is a brand new software we're using, brand new. We set up a new private Facebook. I've never done Facebook Lives before, Q&A days. We're going to do that. This is it. I'm not going to be perfect out of the gates in how I implement all of this. Will the information be exactly what it needs to be? Absolutely. Will there be maybe a delay in getting everyone's bonus package out? Would there be a delay in maybe a product being delivered to us so we can't get it to them? Would there be a software glitch along the way? Someone can't get their password? I'm sure there will be. I'm literally sure there will be. But you know what I can do? Nothing about that at the moment. But what we can do is we can always then fix that as fast as humanly possible. Just let people know, listen, apologize. Minor hiccup. Here's what we did. Not going to happen again. That is how it has to be in life. That is it. Or you will be paralyzed without ever being able to move forward. Honestly, it's that paralysis by analysis. If you need to be perfect, you will never get your best work out to the world. You will never be able to start the podcast. You'll never be able to write the book. You'll never be able to even publish the article. You'll never be able to put out that 10-second Instagram story, right? It's not going to be perfect. Don't worry about that. Get it out there to people. People need the information that you have in them. Or if you're worried about being perfect for the weight loss plan, getting yourself well, meeting that right person, I'll tell you right now, better to get some practice, right? Because then you learn from it. Better to try a weight loss plan and not have it work out rather than not try it at all. Same with a wellness plan, because you know one more thing that doesn't work. You go on a bunch of dates, they're not the right people. You know that those type of people are not your type of people. So now you know who to look for in a more constructive way. So much, much better to begin moving forward. Next one is this. Number 8 is a lack of priorities. Why does this matter? I did a podcast a while back on a bucket list, how to create a bucket list. And of course, at any time, I do really recommend you go to stevencabral.com/podcasts. There's 970-something shows by now, and I will get you today's exact podcast. But when you go back there, you're able to search for Motivation and Mindset Mondays by simply, in the search box, typing in MM, and you can just put that in quotations, and you'll be able to see all the different Motivation and Mindset Mondays. Today's episode 976. But here's the bigger thing, is that when we're talking about specifically a lack of priorities, it's knowing that you can only do so many things out of the gate. You could accomplish everything you want in your life. Honestly, I believe that. You can accomplish everything you want in your life, but what you need to do is put them in an order of priorities. Because what happens is, and this is myself honestly till maybe like 5 years ago, is that there's so many things you want to do, and if you try to work on all of them at once, just a little bit, you get none of them accomplished. So now I get it. I like, all right, every 90 days, so 4 times a year, I'm going to put out and work on something larger. Like, that's it. And I always talk about it. I'm going to work on multiple things in multiple areas of my life, but I'm not going to do 2 major projects at work. I'm not going to do 2 major health-based initiatives. Not every 90 days, no. Like during this season, hey, I'm training for a sprint triathlon, or I'm training to put on 10 more pounds of muscle, or for health, I'm going to be experimenting with these specific anti-aging nutritional supplement protocols. And then for this time of the year, I'm going to be doing more of a cleanse and detox and those types of things. And, so like literally, you just need to set your priorities for where they are. And if your priorities are more in career or relationship or whatever it might be, set it on that. Set it on your top priorities. Accomplish that, and then move on to the next. You will be so much happier because you'll see yourself literally moving forward in life. You will not be watching your time, yes, and all your life just start to pass you by. So number 9 is this. This goes right along with it, is the fear of failure. Too many people never start. They never start, even though they have so much wisdom. They have so much to give because they're worried about failing. I'll tell you right now, there's almost no possibility, so get this right into your head, there's almost no possibility you won't fail your very first time. I don't even consider them failures anymore. I actually have never thought that I've failed once before in my life. What I've done is made many, 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 many mistakes on the way to succeeding. And to this day, I still make many, many mistakes that some people would call failures. Not to me. They aren't failures because I don't stop. I don't give up on whatever my goals may be. What I do is I recalibrate. I've spoken about this many times before. I do hope you tune back into those shows. But what I look for is this. I know that I'm going to fail. Like, I absolutely know. I know the first time I do something, it's not going to be so pretty, but I'm going to learn from it. I am going to improve. I'm not going to make that same mistake again. And then I'm going to move forward. And now I just let people know ahead of time, like, listen, I'm just starting out. This is the first time doing this. Here's what I plan to do. And I do hope you enjoy the journey coming along with me, because this is what it's all about. So I want you to have that same fun attitude, because it is fun. Forget the failure. Have some fun. If you're trying to lose weight, trying to improve your health, trying to improve your career, don't worry about being perfect the very first time. Worry about just getting started. That is honestly what it's all about. And the last tip I want to give you today, the last thing that I really want you to understand, that I really want you to know, and that I want you to hold on to is this, is that this is your life. Honestly, this is your life. We're all worried almost at all times of what other people are thinking and is this the right thing to do. And far too few times, not enough often in our life, are we saying to ourselves, is this something that I would like? Right? We're not living our life, your life. And somewhere along the way, we got told, it got ingrained into us that your life has to just be sacrificed in order to make others happy. And that is not any of the teachings from the very beginning. The teachings from the very beginning, from the ancients, from the seers, from the Vedas, from all of the people with all of that innate wisdom and the wisdom that's really been taught to them and that they've picked up from all over the universe is this, is that in order to fully give something, you must own that yourself. And I chatted about this a little bit last Thursday. But in order for you to give as much love as you can to another person, you too need to feel loved. And if you want to be able to help others in their career or help your children, help anything, you need to feel fulfilled in yours. The same with a relationship. In order for you to give back as much as you can, you need to feel that as well. So that is why I want you to understand you are just as important as anyone else. Now, that does not mean that you put yourself above and beyond everyone else. No. It means that you are in service to yourself as well as others. It is your job to get your body as healthy as possible so that you can serve your family, your friends, your community, your church to your highest degree. If you don't like the way that you look and you believe that if you gained weight or lost weight or whatever it might be, and that allowed you to be more confident and then live your life to the highest level possible, and as long as you did it in a healthy way, then good for you. Then do that. Who am I or is anyone else to say that that's not the right choice for you? Of course it's the right choice, as long as it's in a healthy way. This goes for anything in your life. Those people saying right now, oh, I've been working for 20 years in this one industry. I really wish that I did this. Listen, there's time. There's absolutely time. This is your life. Make yourself happy. I say this all the time. I don't know what happens at the end of life. I'm not sure that anyone does. We can all have faith in a certain thing that may happen. We might even get another chance at this. Nobody knows for sure. But what I can tell you is this, that we are given an amazing opportunity, each one of us. Some people start further behind than others. Some people start further off to the side. But listen, each one of us has our own opportunity in life to make it as great as we can for us, to make it the life that we wanted to live, right? To reach our highest potential. No one else's. Doesn't matter what your neighbor's doing. Doesn't matter with your friends, your siblings, your parents, your kids, all of your friends. None of that matters. What's important to you? Because what is important to you, if you begin to listen to that voice inside yourself, you begin to feed it, right? Little by little. It doesn't have to happen overnight. Little by little. You begin to increase your sense of self-worth. You begin to listen to yourself. You make small wins. You begin to build self-confidence. Your level of happiness literally increases because you begin to follow your certain passions in life, to the voice inside of you that's saying, I want to do this. I need to do this. I'm telling you right now, it is one of the most overlooked things in life because people think that it's selfish. It's not selfish. By doing certain things for yourself, you can actually become far more unselfish. Because the more that you have, the more that you can give. Hopefully today's podcast on the top 10 ways to not let life pass you by was helpful. As always, if it is, I would really appreciate it if you could pass it along to anyone else you believe it could serve. Take care, everyone. Have an amazing day. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.